G'day, everybody. Alright, sounded rather Australian there for a second, but welcome back to To Premiership with me, Bazza D. Don't forget to contact us on our Twitter feed, Offside Pies. That's offside_pies for all the news, views, and all the scintillating reviews of this FIFA 2018 save with the mighty, the Herculean Forest Green Rovers. Now, of course, we had a bit of a setback. We ended up losing to our big derby rivals as Yeovil Town. Francois Zoko told us I knew something, and we really couldn't cope with them. We really struggled to deal with their pace, their power, their technique. I mean, I ultimately succumbed to a 3-1 defeat, a savage blow to our early promotion contention. We're trying to get back into the good books of the fans after that derby disaster. We're away at Colchester United today. As you can see, we're already deep into the action. It's already raging away. There's a great save by the Colchester United goalkeeper, Walker, and that has proven to be the only real chance of note and significance in the first half as we get underway. As you can see from the scoreline, it's been a fairly uneventful first period. Colchester United 0, Forest Green Rovers 0. Very eaksy-peaksy in terms of possession. We've decided to make a change at half-time. Morrison looked to be struggling a little bit. He looked to be toiling, so we've decided to put an extra striker on just to sit in behind Christian Deutsch. Boygel, he had a reasonably competent performance when he came on against Mansfield Town a couple of games ago, but it's been a little bit more of a competitive performance from the lads in the first half today, even though they haven't threatened significantly in an attacking sense. We've certainly looked more composed, more steady on the ball, and we haven't looked quite so, and here's a word for your dictionary, word of the day, quite so frangible at the back. So let's get on with the second half, and hopefully we can get ourselves back into winning ways today. So here's Deutsch, lays the ball back to Boygel. Osborne, who had a fairly domineering first half, he didn't let anything get past him. The defence looked very, very solid. Here's Laird, he's been looking rather suspect of late, but he's had a reasonable game today. He's managed to stick in there, and he hasn't made any stupid mistakes. Bennett now trying to find space. He lays it into Osborne. Osborne looks up and plays a very intelligent and slick crossfield ball to Laird. Laird, he's got a runner ahead of him, and here's Deutsch if he can get in behind, but Kent gets a foot in and snaffles it away for Colchester United. Up to Wright, lays the ball forward, and a nice interchange of passing with Murray, and Wright really has to be impeded here, or at least blocked legally, and the ball just drifts beyond the post, and that was a fairly innocuous chance for Colchester United. It's a fairly hopeful punt into the box, and it looked as though our central defender went up with Guthrie, didn't really make any contact, didn't really seem to get any meaningful challenge in, and Guthrie just brushes the ball wide. We'll take the short kick here from Collins to Collins. I trust they're not related. We'll find out though. Collins decides to play the ball across the face of goal to Month. Ordinarily, you should never play the ball across the face of your own goal. It's asking for trouble. That's what all the professionals say. Does that apply in FIFA? Well, sometimes it does. I've been left rather red-faced. Oh, and a great tackle in there by Bennett, just as the Colchester United player was striding forward, preparing to hit the ball, and that could have been dangerous, but the chance snuffed out. Here's a change now for Colchester United. Innes making way, and Cameron James taking to the field. Still 0-0, 58 minutes on the clock. Very, very tight game. No quarter asked, no quarter given, but Boygel's got some space to work with here, and the last-ditch challenge there for the Colchester United player denies him storming forward, but this is opening up nicely now. Cooper, can he find a good ball? It takes a deflection off Lapsley. Boygel again looking to play in another Forest Green Rovers player for another pivotal attack. Here's Laird, tries to get past Jackson, he just leaves his foot in, and Laird is left stumbling into the dirt. And Colchester United come forward again. They're looking more dangerous, a bit brighter now, and Guthrie's certainly given us something to think about, but Collins comes and collects his cross rather comfortably, immediately bowls the ball out to Cooper, who dabs the ball inside to Bennett. Bennett now down this right hand side. Can he create something? No, he runs into Dickinson, who's a bit of a brick wall and has been an impregnable force for Colchester United all game. 68 minutes on the clock. We're drifting towards a rather uninspired inspiring goalless draw unless somebody can seize the initiative, seize this game by the scruff of the neck and produce something magical, produce something meaningful. Just get the ball in the back of the net. Preferably for Forest Green Rovers. Oh, and there's an interception between Collins and Reid. It looked for 1-on. Reid's given the ball away. It's across the face of the goal. And there is, eventually, the ball has ended up in the back of the net. Colchester United have the advantage. And that was a piece of absolutely comical defending from the Forest Green Rovers' point of view. And right is on hand to take advantage of the ball rolled across the 6-yard box. It looked to me as though he'd missed it first time. I'm not quite sure what happened. We need to examine the replay. In fact, is that an own goal? Wright smacks it as hard as he can, absolutely mullers and blisters it off the underside of the crossbar, and it looks to me as though in the act of trying to save it, Bradley Collins has somehow palmed the ball into his own net, and indeed that will be registered as an own goal. Tragedy for Forest Green Rovers. Right, we really must try and get back into the tie, because 2 consecutive defeats would not be good for morale, would not be good for confidence, and would not be good for my manager rating. Here's Laird, he cuts inside, can he get the shot in? Oh, that's rather tame, straight down the throat of the goalkeeper. We're looking for much better than that. Wishart, he's had a rather quiet game today. Despite losing 2-0 to Yeovil last week, he was one of the more influential players, one of the players who you felt every time the ball came to him, something nice, something miraculous or productive was going to transpire, and he was going to make things happen. Back to the goalkeeper. That really is a sign of a lack of confidence, but Collins picks the ball up, gets the ball wide now to Bennett. Bennett lays it into Osborne. There's the pass ahead of him now to... This is Morris. Morris takes his man on. What's he planning to do here? He shapes up now. Get the cross in. In it comes. And there's a chance, and there's a header, and there's a goal! And we were just saying that Wishart hadn't had the impact he'd had on the Yeovil game. He certainly had a massive, instrumental impact today as he equalises for Forest Green Rovers. Wishart on the end of a marvellous cross from Morris. He looked up, sized up his options, mathematically judged the ball. Oh, that's a lovely cross, whipped in with pace. The Colchester United defenders don't know what to do. Lapsley really should have done better. He's covering Wishart, but he doesn't get anywhere near him, and Wishart manages to get a powerful header on the ball. He leaps like the proverbial salmon, and Dan Wishart has his first goal of the season. 83 minutes on the clock, and that perhaps has rescued a point for Forest Green Rovers today and arrested the minimal rot that was starting to take shape after losing 3-1 to Yeovil Town last weekend. So, can we now go and build upon this? Is this a platform? Is this a foundation for Forest Green Rovers to try and snatch a victory? Because I have to say, in the second half, we've been less than impressive. Colchester United have by far been the more dangerous side. They've looked threatening as they attacked. We've been put under immense pressure by their defence as they make a third and final change. Curtis Guthrie, he has been the main man for Colchester today. He really has put us to the sword. Scored, he didn't score a goal actually, but he certainly was shaping up to look menacing at every opportunity. Every time the ball went forward, he certainly put our defence to grief. Eastman now trying to probe out and sniff out a final chance in the last few minutes for Colchester United. The ball, it's sent into the box, and I thought for a moment Montham just that, and now Colchester United are on the back foot as Forest Green Rovers break away, but Boygle just cannot thread that ball through to Doidge. Doidge has been rather anonymous today, it has to be said. Good tackle. Laird lays the ball forward. There's a chance now for Doidge to latch onto the ball. He gets there, but he's on his own. He's going to have to construct something quite superb here. He lays it back now to Osborne. Osborne trying desperately to play a ball in, retains possession well. Now here's Doidge. What can Doidge do? He tries to pick out the runner, but the ball just eluded him. And there is the final whistle. It's Colchester United 1, Forest Green Rovers 1. And I suppose in the circumstances we have to be relatively happy with a point. We went a goal down with 20 minutes to go. A rather comical own goal by our goalkeeper Bradley Collins. The ball was rolled across the penalty area. The defence were posted missing. Wright managed to smack it as hard as he could, only to thunder the underside of the crossbar. And as the ball bounced down, Collins was caught unawares, and in the act of trying to palm the ball away to safety, he more or less ladled it into the back of his own net. But then we scored an absolutely sensational goal to equalise. I have to say that we probably stole this one today, very much against the run of play. We managed to level matters. It was a lovely ball in after sizing up the options from Morris, and a real bullet header by Dan Wishart, first goal of the season for him, and we were just beginning to reflect upon the fact that Dan Wishart hadn't been quite as influential as he had been in the Yeovil match, despite our defeat there, when he popped up and scored the critical equaliser. So that's a very important point for us today. We've just drifted, or had drifted, outside of the automatic promotion and playoff places. Interestingly, Colchester United did not manage one single shot on target today. The own goal aside, which will not be counted as a shot on target. That's yeah, I'm a bit miffed at that they didn't manage to muster one single shot on target, and we still had to settle for a point. Nevertheless, Colchester, difficult venue to go to. I would have taken a point beforehand, so we can't be really too disgruntled about that. Let's move on now to have a look at some of the other scorelines there. Barnet getting another victory. Cambridge United being held to a draw by Morecambe. Let's see some of the teams who are above us. Luton Town getting a victory as well, so they'll probably now usurp our place in the table. Let's just take a check on the League 2 table. We've got another match coming up, a difficult one against League 1 opposition in the Checkatrade Trophy against Scunthorpe United. That's the next match on the itinerary. Yeah, that match against Colchester United, it could have certainly have been better, but I suppose we have to be relatively mollified that we went a goal down fairly late on in the tie, managed to show signs of recovery, a lot of resilience, and created a very good goal to get ourselves level, to restore parity. So, we'll move on in the next video to another game where Forest Green Rovers are aiming to maintain their charge up League 2. We've managed to stop the rot from the Yeovil Town debacle, and hopefully we can start to get back onto winning ways. Now, before we move on to the next game, we'll just have a look at some of the other clubs around about us in the league, just to assess their strengths and their vulnerabilities. I always feel that League 2 is perhaps one of the more difficult leagues to extricate yourselves from in real life, because nowadays two teams can go down, or one can be automatically relegated to the Vanarama Conference, and the other side is given the saving grace, the consolation of being in a playoff. The top two are automatically promoted, and then of course the next lot of teams go into the playoffs. I always feel that it's a very tight division to get out of, and there have been over the years some fabulously well-known clubs who have quite secure and massive reputations in English football who've toiled in League 2. You also just have to look at League 1, where currently we have the likes of Portsmouth. Of course, they did fall from grace due to financial problems. There were a lot of mitigating circumstances, you might say. It wasn't all down to football reasons that Portsmouth ended up where they are. However, you look at Coventry City in League 2. I can remember Coventry City winning the FA Cup, Keith Houchin's diving header in 1987. It's a spectacular fall for grace from them. Luton Town, I can remember, I think, winning the League Cup in the mid-80s. They were always a perennial, not the Premiership, because that didn't exist then, but they were certainly a First Division side, which was the equivalent of the Premiership of its day. So there are many sides with stellar reputations who find themselves scrapping around in the nether regions of English football.